This is Ariel Phoenix. She built a reward and behavior tracking platform for her kids.
So this is a sort of behavior management platform. I had the idea to make it for my children. I wanted like a reward chart that they could see, and I could kind of link it with doing chores and pocket money and things like that.
And she did that all without writing a single line of code. So the question is, how? Today we're going to find out how she built FamilyGoals.io, a full-fledged web application with the help of tools like Bolt. I'm Doc Williams, a no-code tool specialist and tech entrepreneur with over 12 years of experience. Let's get started. Hey everyone, it's your boy Doc Williams, and today we have a special guest with us. This person is going to show us and talk about how you can start building your application with just a few text prompts. So, who do we have the pleasure to be with today?
Hey Doc, my name is Ariel Phoenix from the UK, if you couldn't guess. And I don't know what I'd call myself. I'm passionately curious. I love everything that's happening in the AI space. I'm from SEO, so I'm from the SEO industry. And quite a lot of that has been about content optimization and creating content. And I ended up creating a bulk publishing tool, which allowed us to scale content with AI and programmatic SEO. And I think that's what led me down the AI coding, AI development scene. And I'm just really enjoying what we can do in this space.
I love it. Well, great. Nice to have you, and that's awesome to hear. So, tell me a little bit more. So, do you do SEO for clients? Is it for your own business? How does that work?
Yeah, so I'm a growth manager at an agency called Embark. But before that, I had a portfolio of sites. So I think I had around 23 sites, niche sites. And those were very, very targeted. I mean, by the name, they're niche sites. So you'd have things like a site all about music or the music industry, a site all about parrots. It could be anything. Wherever there was an opportunity to create content, answer questions, and promote Amazon products, and then get paid by these premium ad services like Mediavine and Ezoic. That's what I was doing, and that was kind of the space where I grew my following, because I was just sharing everything I did. So yeah, that's the main thing.
Okay.
I didn't really do it for clients until now.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And so, tell me the aha moment, or how did you even find Bolt, and how did you start using these tools?
So, as I said, I've been quite active in the SEO space, and a lot of things cross over. I've always been talking about generative AI since the days of conversion AI turned Jarvis, turned Jasper. And people, when I tweet certain things, people that follow me will tell me about different tools. And there are so many, so many SaaS tools now. The noise can be deafening. But when someone you trust tells you about something to check out, I'll go and check it out. And I once I found Bolt.new, that was it. I didn't know this world existed, this code generation world. So yeah,
Excellent. And then, so how long have you been using Bolt right now?
I think it's only been about, I could actually check my subscription. I think it's going to renew in a few days. So it's been a month, less than
Oh,
a, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So, could you tell us what kind of project you mentioned it with SEO? Could you kind of give us more detail on it?
Yeah, so I'm in the homeschooling space. So I created two tools. Or there was one I was building before I found Bolt.new. So I was grinding it out with my minimal coding skills. I was in VS Code, VS Studio, I forget what it's called, and back and forth between Claude and Visual Studio or Virtual Studio. And so I had my MVP, and then when I learned about Bolt, I put that in there, gave it the screenshots, told it what I wanted to do, wrote this really elaborate prompt, and then it recreated it. And then I just started building the back end to make it all work. And then when I realized I could do that, I went on to slightly more complex projects, which is the homeschool platform that I'm building now, which is like a homeschool dashboard for parents to log everything that they're doing, log their children's work, and create profiles for different children. So that's how I got over there.
I love it. I love it. So, And we were talking about this a little bit before the interview. We were talking about tech stacks and what this means and all these things. But really, if I'm understanding correctly, and what you like using, you're using Claude for prompting and in figuring out what you're going to do, and Bolt helped you to build that application, that first one. Is Let me ask you this: would you like to showcase what you've done in Bolt? Would you like to explain what Bolt is to you? Any of those things would be great. What would you like to start with?
I can't show. I've got too many tabs open at the moment. I'm always
No
worried about
worries.
sharing the screen and then showing something. But one of the tools that are live that I've created is called familygoals.io. I don't know if you wanted to bring that up on your
I
end.
can do that. I can do that. So as I'm doing this, tell me what it's about.
So this is a sort of behavior management platform. I had the idea to make it for my children. I wanted like a reward chart, but a digital one that they could see, and I could kind of link it with chores, doing chores, and pocket money and things like that. So I drew all those images myself. But yeah, I wanted something that would be fun and that I could upgrade later and integrate into teaching them about financial literacy and earning, cashing out, delayed gratification, and working together. And that's what came out.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you use Bolt to do this too?
Yeah, this is Bolt. So I built the front end with Bolt. So everything you can see, all the visuals, the footer, all of those things were built with Bolt, and then connecting. I think I got to a certain point before my credit started running low. So I connected Superbase because you need a database. This was all new to me at the time. So I connected Superbase to do auth, database, and storage, and then I went over to Windsurf to continue iterating.
That's wonderful to hear. We're doing a whole windsurf tutorial coming up in the next 4 days, so this is perfect.
Awesome.
So, first of all, I would like to say this is really good. You did a great job with all of this. How many hours did it take you to start learning on this and just start bashing this together? What are we talking here?
Too many hours and too many tears, if I'm honest. When it got to, so it didn't need to take as long as it. I think getting the main framework together didn't take long at all. So that was the prompt with Bolt, the big prompt, getting it together, and then doing the back end stuff. I think what takes the most time is all the SQL, the migrations, as you're adding different features. So I think it's quite easy and fast to do a simple website where they don't need to make accounts and come back, and they don't need to pay for things. But then when you start to integrate Superbase and Stripe payments, you get cause issues, you get all kinds of new terminology I wasn't familiar with. So yeah, but beyond that, it took a few days. I think it's been, like I said, it's been just under a month, and that's been live for about a week, so a few weeks, couple of weeks, yeah.
I still think it looks great. And compared to, have you ever worked with the developer before? Like, say, for instance, you wanted something done and you had to pay. Have you ever had that relationship or anything like that in the past?
Many times, yeah. So that's always been my relationship with building these things, where I have the idea, I've got to try and put it into words, get it to the developer, get a good developer that understands the vision, and then get it done. And it costs a lot of money, and it also, you don't guarantee getting the thing in your mind as well. So that's what I appreciate the most about Bolt.new and these tools, is you can have it better than how you had it in your mind. But yeah, I've paid developers. I've built plugins via developers for WordPress, and I've built sites in the past like this. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I feel the struggle. I feel the struggle. I spent way too many hours and tens of thousands of dollars on things that it didn't work anyway, the way that I wanted. So I'm glad to hear that in a month, creating some fantastic things to see this. Well, how about this? Would you be up for, because I've never used Bolt or anything like that. What about this? Can we do a semi session to get started? How a
sure,
beginner would start and everything.
yeah, for sure.
Um, what I'm going to do is share this. This is we're doing a lot of this is for when we're building out AI agents in general for different platforms. And so, if you don't mind, I want to use this as a guide, and then you know what, you just tell me what I should do. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
Uh, so I can bring it up real quick. And so, what I'm going to do, if that's okay, we've talked about this on previous episodes, but we've talked about a few things when we're either using Replit or Lovable or whatever Windsurf. We usually have these steps that we follow. We have the tools needed, and this time we're going to use Bolt and Claude. Um, and there's no pressure here. This is no pressure. As you're talking, I'm just going to be going through this, so it's not a problem. I'm going to think about creating a prompt. We're going to go through this and see what it creates and go from there. Um,
Awesome.
s- so, Ariel, what do you think? Should I first start with Claude and kind of go through giving it my MVP idea, something like that? Would that be
That's
best? Yeah.
exactly what I would do. Yeah.
Okay. So right here, this was for our CRM that we built, customer relationship management system. So we built this using Replit, but I'll use the prompt here. So I want to create an MVP for a CRM for locksmiths. And so what I'm going to do, I've written this before, and I'm just going to copy it over. Now, I have the beginning of what I want it to be here. What do you think, Ariel? I have more details here.
Yeah.
Should I bring all of that in? Just
I
copy
would
it
give
all?
everything to give everything to ChatGPT or Claude,
Yep.
and I actually tell it. I don't know if you're more comfortable with Next.js or Vite and React. I've recently learned I prefer Vite and React when it comes to building. So
Hmm.
yeah, so it's up. But I would tell it. I'll tell ChatGPT or Claude that I'm building this tool and I'm using an AI coder and I want it to make a better prompt based on the things that you've got there. So based on the information you've got, to create a prompt from that and to
Gotcha.
tell it to make sure sorry, make sure it maintains a consistent file directory. So
Can
yeah.
you let me ask you this? So, okay, let's see if I remember all of that. Let's see if I'm going to do it. Let's try this out. I'm using an AI agent to
Yeah,
build this
AI
out.
coding agent, yeah, something like that.
AI coding agent, please create a better prompt based off of the
Following
text
it.
that the
Yeah.
following information I've just given you.
Yeah. You and then also mention following best practices of Next.js or Vite and React is completely up to you.
Best practices. All right. Let's see this MVP out. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. And ba, ba, ba. And what I'm doing for people that are watching at home, I just use Whisper because, again, this channel, if people have watched it, I'm severely dyslexic. So a lot of times trying to write things out, I have to do text to speech. So we just filled this in. Okay. So we have that. We have the basics here. Should I click go?
Yeah, that's good.
Let's do it. All right. So it says, I'll help you create a comprehensive prompt. All right. I'm getting some details here. Love it. Good times. All right. And then as it's doing this, oh, it's very nice. It's telling me what it just did. Very nice. So what should I do from here? Should I copy this? And what would be next steps?
I would also get it to do the file direct. So create a simple file directory for this.
Okay. And I can put it just right here and
Yeah,
ask it right here.
yeah. If you write it there, it will make. I think it makes like an image you can screenshot or save, and then use that.
A simple file directory.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Create a simple file directory. Okay. Well, this is very nice. So when I'm asking it for a file directory too, am I going to take the prompt and the file directory as well? Take
Yeah,
both of those?
yeah,
Okay. Good times. Okay. So we have the prompt here, and then we have the file directory.
yeah.
Excellent.
So you'll have to copy them in separate. Of course, you've got to copy one, paste it, come back, and then paste the other one.
Gotcha. And I'm just putting it right there in reply to Claude again.
No,
Or
so if we let's look at what it's given us. It's given. Let's see from the top. We
from the top.
create a modern. Yeah, using Vite and React. Yeah, perfect. And then with the file directory, Bolt should do a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we take both of those, and now we're heading to Bolt.
Yep, straight to Bolt.
Okay. Okay. So right here, let's see. Should I even say get started or just put this sucker in
Yeah,
right
you
here?
can just put it in there. Yeah,
Okay. So I have that.
and
Okay.
then get the file directory.
Okay. File directory. Okay. Copy that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I put it in the same section.
Yeah,
Same.
you could write file directory colon and then paste it. I'm not sure how it's going to show up, but it should understand.
Hmm. See about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine.
All right. And then we click go. Should
Yeah.
we? Okay. Oh, I got to sign up. Let's sign up. Let me sign up for a second. I'll just do it right here. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you. All right. So now, am I looking at as it's already doing all of its things? It's making all the files. We're seeing that they're doing the layout. Okay. Okay.
Before we press enter, we could also give it more direction on how we want it to look. We could give it an image of another site that we like if we like the layout, and do
Mm.
its best. But we'll see what it
Do you
comes.
think I should or no?
It does a good job with the UI. It definitely does a good job with the UI, but I am noticing things start to look very similar now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Given,
Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. All right, very nice. Very nice. So we have the different pages here. Okay. I'm looking at viewing activities. So we have dummy data right here.
yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Excellent. 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 Well, thank you for walking us through this. Now, let me ask you this. As I'm clicking this, right, I'm seeing settings, employees. If I have this, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think I'm switching to that page. Do
Mm.
I have to then instruct it to do more, pretty much, to when this button is clicked, navigate to these pages, things like that?
That's right. So initially, it's going to try and do everything you've asked it to do to give you that image. So it tries to do the MVP. That would be enough to give to somebody if you wanted them to build out with that one prompt. But now you need to say, okay, let's build the page for customers, and it needs to
Mhm.
link and all of those things. And you take it one step by step, and then it will, yeah, slowly build out each of those pages.
Now, would you tell it to build each page at a time so it will slow down and do it rather than here's all the pages, take the time, build each page at a time so it can do it correctly? Is that the right
Yeah.
way to do it?
Yeah, I think when I first started, I tried to get it to do too much in one go, and then that's where you get all kinds of issues. So, yeah, definitely break it down into bite-sized pieces, and also you can give it more information about each of those pages because if it just does its own thing, it might not. You might have to spend more tokens correcting things it does. So you might say for the customers page, I want it to have two panels and a banner, and you can give it that direction.
I love it. I love it. And could you let me ask you this? When you mentioned that you're using Superbase for the back end, right? So are you doing everything visual first and then you're after you've got everything that you like, then you're saying, okay, I would like to integrate or I'd like to connect Superbase and then go through that process?
Absolutely. Again, something I learnt my lesson on is trying to do super base too early and build things that block you from different areas of the site. So you don't want to do that. So build everything out visually, all the pages how you'd want them, and then you can start to put different privileges for different users in. It will save you a lot of headache doing it after.
Excellent. And then after you did that, the back end, all of those things, then did you start using like a payment processor like Stripe and then go through that process? You did the heavy lifting. Those are not easy things to get
Yeah,
all integrated. That's excellent.
I didn't know at the time, but you can do Stripe a bit sooner with the test payment. So
Yep.
of course Stripe has the test section, and you can just put those keys in. But I felt like I don't want to do it and then have to change it, so I thought, let me just go. I have to do it at some point. Let me just test it out. And yeah, headache, but I've learned more for the next each project I get better. So
That's no, that's very impressive. Listen, I would just point out that, using other no code tools like Flutter, Bubble, others, sometimes the learning curve, it takes people 6 to 12 months to even be proficient. For you to do this in a month and for you to do all the heavy lifting to get through the back end, Superbase is not easy, and Stripe, that's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, that's great. That's great. Let me ask you something. So, did for the next project, do you always go live with Stripe, or do you go test mode and then you ask it to switch over when you're switching live afterwards?
No, so yeah, so for the second one I think I did the same thing. I think I'd done, yeah, so I had issues. So when I went with the live key, I wasn't able to test the things that I needed to test. So I think I'm going to do the test going forwards. I'm going to do test because you don't get to check out you're on localhost and then it's telling you in console that you can't do this until you're on, a secure server, and that's a pain because you might get through everything, think it's working, deploy the site, and then problems. So yeah.
That's well, no, but you're going through the growing pains, and no, this is great. This is great. Well, thank you so much for going through this. Now, when you're deploying it, what's the deploying process? Do you have to get your own website? Do you have to get your own hosting? How does this work with deploying with bolts?
So it's actually quite cool. If you can hit deploy now and you'll see what it does. It takes you to Netlify. It might take a while
Ooh,
because it's built in. Yeah, it's built. They've got Netlify built in, and my one of my sites is hosted on Netlify now, and it's free until you need to upgrade to different things. But Netlify, oh yeah, it's an amazing platform. Hadn't heard of it before Bolt, but you can deploy it. Then you get there. You go. You've got a URL there, so you can click on your site and view it. I think is it that? No, not that one. The top one. I think that's you
top
trying to
one.
claim it. Yeah,
Let's do it. Very nice.
yeah.
Very nice.
Gives you that, and then you go make. If you wanted to claim it from bolt.new, you could, but because I had to go into Windsurf and do all the tweaks, I just made my own account and then connected it to GitHub. And yeah, and you can update as you go because it's connected to GitHub rather than uploading the files and having to do it manually.
So, am I understanding you took all of the files from Bolt, then you put it into Windsurf, did all of the changes that you wanted, and then go from there? What
Yeah.
was for you personally? Why did you switch from Bolt to Windsurf? Or are you kind of, hey, you get started, you know how to use Bolt, you know how to do this quicker, and then you go into Windsurf? Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think Bolt. I don't know if this is something that if this is how they want it to be, but at the moment, tools like Bolt.new, Lovable.dev. I don't know if you've heard of that one. They
Mhm.
are very good for building the MVP, for building out the great looking site. But then when it comes to building all the different things in the back, things could go wrong very fast because I think they've changed it now, but initially the tool was rewriting the entire file, and with that, sometimes I know you probably know from using Claude and ChatGPT that they try to truncate the code sometimes. So they'll take things and then they'll fix one thing and break something else. And that's what ended up taking loads of hours learning that I had to get out of that platform, put it somewhere else where I could control it better and also cheaper because the credits are not cheap. So once they run out and you want to do other things with it, and you have to iterate, then it's best to take it out and put it in one of those more simple tools like Windsurf. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And then from Windsurf, is that when you're using Superbase and everything like that in Windsurf?
Yeah. Yeah. So I had already connected it to Superbase. But all the files are there. So when you're doing Windsurf understands when you have to add a migration to the SQL, it can connect. You can connect by CLI, or you can copy the SQL text into Superbase. And yeah, it's all quite seamless because these IDEs know what they're doing. They know how to connect to these things.
I love it. So let me ask you, with all this trial and error, all of this frustration, are you going to in Discord to ask teams? Are you looking on message boards? Are you just spending time and just figuring it out yourself? What's your plan?
I'm going through the stress on my own. I think I've been in Discord. The thing with me is I want to do it now. Like I don't want to have to wait for the response or the help. I'd rather sit there for a few hours and go through the pain than go and try and find the help, which is probably not a good thing. If Claude or ChatGPT can't help me, yeah, I'll figure it out eventually. And then I think along the way I learned so much, so it makes sense to just do it.
I love it. I love it. So there's a couple things that, and thank you so much for your time and explaining this. This is excellent to see. Um, what are you planning on doing next? Are you going to be working on other applications? Are you planning on thinking about refining other ones? Tell us, yeah, what's next?
So I have a severe case of shiny object syndrome, and that's to my detriment because I have all these ideas and I want to build all the things, but I need to know when to just hone in on the one thing. So, because I'm in the process of building my YouTube channel, I love doing this stuff and I love trying out new AI tools. It's fine because I get to create the content while I'm doing the things. But my main focus is going to be the two tools I mentioned. So, the homeschool dashboard and the parenting one, and they go hand in hand. And because of my background in SEO, building those up, doing the link building, all of that stuff, the lead generation, that stuff excites me the most. So those are the things I'm going to be doing, putting most of my time into. And then the side bits, making content for YouTube and whatnot, I'll be exploring those tools. So I get to continue to do both.
I love to see it. I love to see it. And can't wait to see your journey and continue to see all of the progress that you're making. What if you were having someone, because this is all new, all of these things, all these tools are so new. But when people are just, dipping their toe and they're thinking about what should they use, they feel stuck or feel overwhelmed. What would your one or two pieces of advice be for someone like that?
It would definitely be to try out something like lovable.dev or bolt.new because they are truly designed to be and to make it easy for non-coders. So you mentioned Bubble, you mentioned a few no-code tools, and I've come across them in my past and I've tried to use them. And with my no-code background, they were too hard. It was too confusing. It still seemed like you had to understand and know all of these different things to make it work. So that put me off. But finding this surprisingly as complex as it looks when it's importing all these different files, it's so much easier going from text to the actual thing and you can see it in front of you, and you learn along the way. So I didn't know anything about SQL, Superbase. I didn't know anything about that stuff over a month ago. I knew of it, but I didn't know. I could never navigate it. So I would definitely suggest starting. I learn from doing. I think most people do and will benefit from just doing the thing and doing it as they go. So choose a basic project, something very simple. Learn to iterate, learn how to talk to the AI, and you're going to get a lot out of it for sure. I mean, the cost of the pricing plans are relatively cheap compared to what you'd be paying for a developer to do the thing. So
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much. And before we end, we have one more question. Is there any question you wish I asked you during this interview?
oh, that's a good one. I don't actually have I don't have an answer for that, but that's a good question.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. We want to visit and see your journey. Where can the good people find you and follow your journey?
So I'm quite active over on X or Twitter, and that's just Ariel CPX, Arielle CPX, and over on YouTube it's just Ariel Phoenix. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ariel. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, at another later time, as we're seeing all the things that you're building, we can catch up and see what's going on in your world in
For
the
sure.
future.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.